Hello, this video is all about the zero product property and how we would solve a quadratic equation using the zero product property. So the first thing we need to know is, what is the zero product property? What the zero product property tells us is that if A times B equals 0, then either A equals 0 or B equals 0. Here's how we're going to use this property. If I have an equation, such as the first one, which is x plus 4 times x plus 6 equals 0. Here we have a case of the zero product property because I have two things being multiplied together. So I could call this my A and this my B. And the zero product property tells me that if A times B equals 0, then either A must equal 0 or B must equal 0. So now I'm just going to solve each of these smaller equations. So x plus 4 equals 0. To solve this equation, I would subtract 4 from each side, and I would be left with x equals negative 4. Similarly, if I solve the other equation, I would subtract by 6 on each side, and I would be left with x equals negative 6. And these would be my two options for x equals negative 4 or x equals negative 6. Please pause the video now and try problems number 2 and 3 on your own, and then restart the video to check the answer. Now we are going to learn how the zero product property, or ZPP, connects with factoring. There are times where our equations are not set up in factored form yet, and so we cannot do ZPP without factoring ourselves first. The first thing that you need to do is, if you're going to use ZPP, or the zero product property, you must make sure that your equation is equal to 0. Then you're going to factor the quadratic, and then you can use the zero product property, which is sometimes called ZPP. So let's look at an example. X squared plus 4x plus 3 equals 0. First, I must check that my equation equals 0. Yep, it does. Now I'm going to factor. Because this equation has 3 terms, I know that I can use sum product. So I need to add up to 4 and multiply to 3. Well, that would be x plus 3 times x plus 1. Now that my equation is in factored form, I can use the zero product property. So x plus 3 must be 0, or x plus 1 equals 0. And if I solve both equations using opposite operations, I find that x equals negative 3, or that x equals negative 1. Let's look at example 2. 4x squared plus 3x equals negative 13x. First, I must make sure that my equation equals 0. It does not right now. So I need to make my equation equal 0. And how I'm going to do this is by taking the negative 13x and moving it to the other side. Now how I do that is by using opposite operations. So because it was negative 13x, I'm going to add 13x to each side. So now negative 13x and 13x will cancel out and become 0. And on the other side, I'm left with 4x squared plus 16x. Notice how I combined like terms here. I put the 13x and the 3x together because they both had x's. Now, since my equation is equal to 0, I'm going to factor using GCF. And now that my equation is in factored form, I'm going to use the zero product property. So either 4x equals 0 or x plus 4 equals 0. So then by solving each equation, I know that x is either going to equal 0 or that x is going to equal -4. Try number 3 on your own, pausing the video, and restart the video to check your answer.